Hey, there you are. This is Kurt with Mañana No Mas, and we're out today. Looks like it's going to be LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're on X.com right now under the WP e-learning brand. And so the message coming to you today from the agency is about our newest course that we started promoting about 3 weeks ago, and it went live yesterday. So it's completely accessible now. And we opened it up to be viewed yesterday. And this is optimizing SCORM in WordPress. And so if you're seeing this live right now and you're saying to yourself, what's SCORM? SCORM is a large file type that does a very specific type of e-learning. And so if you have a website that is an e-learning based website, so if you run an organization or an enterprise like a major corporation that has e-learning in it, chances are a lot of your e-learning content is based in SCORM. Now, chances are if you have SCORM based content, you're also keenly aware that you have a fairly substantial budget for hosting that material, creating that material, and maintaining that material online for your students to be able to access. And so one of the things that I had realized when I was a corporate trainer was we had this super, super expensive, ugly, clumsy website that ran our SCORM material, but it didn't really do anything else. I could like link newsletters to it, and I could like have things linked to it. But as a technical person at a large company, I still couldn't really access the website to do anything with it. So I always had to go through our vendor to say, can you link our latest newsletter to the homepage? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it always took weeks to make anything happen. On top of that, we were paying multiple six figures to keep this enterprise alive. And so when I looked at the service that we received from the vendor, the quality of the product that we're able to offer the student, and the sheer cost of what we were doing from an enterprise perspective, I was like, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And so years ago, I started looking into different options to run SCORM material. I started looking at like Tin Can API and looking at, I think there was one called X API and there was one called APIX. And I think there was even one called like WP hyphen API, if my memory's right. Anyway, there were all these different tools that came out in different ways to be able to play this SCORM content in a website. And so the messaging today is really, hey, there are ways that we can take this SCORM content, this highly technical, large file format, and we can put it into a WordPress environment. And you can use a WordPress-based LMS that elevates your online presence for your students in ways that you may not have really strongly considered before. I mean, if you think about it, WordPress is over 40% of the internet already. And so it's more than a blog site. WordPress, corporately speaking, is an entity now to be reckoned with. And so when you take a look at WordPress with its flexibility and its sheer power to build and do almost whatever you want, that becomes really attractive. So if we're able to take WordPress, which is a content management system, and we're able to add a learning management system to that WordPress space, and then we're able to run our SCORM content, have our reporting from the SCORM material sync with the reporting from the website and see everything natively in the back end, and do it with a budget that dwarfs what you're spending on some outdated, clunky, clumsy, ugly website. That to me is a super, super huge win. And so something really interesting happened while I was starting to prepare to release this course. And that was, I'm pretty active in the WordPress space. I'm on the WP Tonic shows, right? Because he does the WP Tonic show. He does the Membership Machine show. I have the Mañana No Mas podcast. I am on the Lifter LMS Ask Me Anything call every week. And I also run the Lifter LMS Mastermind call every week. And so from the perspective of being a WordPress learning management system expert, I kind of had that covered. And then from a Lifter LMS perspective, I'm kind of the guy that answers the questions that come in that are related to any kind of SCORM application. And so what I've decided to do is I've decided to kind of take that experience and put it out there in a way that it should be. So I've kind of packaged myself as the SCORM expert for WordPress, largely based on my experience in Lifter LMS, and I've put forth this course on using SCORM. In fact, I even made a commercial that goes with that. And so here's the commercial for you.
As an executive, you hear that word and you go, man, why did we follow that 20 years ago? But now you're stuck with it. You've spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars developing e-learning material, and you're running it on a platform from 15 years ago. You've assembled this awesome team of diversified young professionals in your office that quite honestly might not even know what SCORM really is. So now, as you fly around the city and you look out the window, you have to ask yourself, as the guy running this show, where do I put this stuff? Well, call the folks at Mañana No Mas. Let's move you to a modern platform in WordPress using Lifter LMS, run your SCORM content, and keep your budget well under what you've been paying for these antiquated systems. See you soon.
And so what we're going there with the Mañana No Mas agency perspective is twofold. One, we'd love the work. Let's just be honest. I run an agency. I make a living for me and my family by selling work. So a lot of the pushback that the WordPress space gets is that it always comes across as like this do-it-yourself kind of proposition. Like people are like, well, I don't want to maintain the plugins. It takes maintenance. It takes effort. I want to build it and forget it. And I totally understand that. There's a reason why people with SaaS or these custom applications are charging $200,000, $300,000 a year to manage your SCORM website. And that's because they're taking care of their own, updates and infrastructures and things like that. But there's something really cool to think about with WordPress, and that is what they call digital sovereignty. And so what that means is with WordPress being open source, once we download WordPress and we put it on your website and we build your learning management system on that as the platform, you own it. It's yours. You're not renting it from a vendor. You're not having to worry about, well, if we change vendors, do we lose all of our content? No, you don't lose any of your content because you own all of it. You own your user data. You own your content. You own your website. You own everything. And if you want to pack up your toys and move it to another host, you can do that. Because with WordPress, you have the freedom to move that site wherever you want to put it. So there's so many bonuses to going in the WordPress space from that perspective that could be a whole other, level of a communication. But where I wanted to come to you today from, especially since we just released the course yesterday, was that Mañana No Mas is doing this from two different perspectives. One, obviously, is we want the work. So when you host with Mañana No Mas, we take care of installing the plugins, installing the tools. We update your plugins for you on a regular basis. We keep everything maintained for you. We keep that going. So you don't have to worry about it. Now, next level, since we're a full service agency, we give you the choice. Do you want to, build, construct, manage your own SCORM courses, load them up yourselves and embed them into the pages that you want to see them in, connect it to reporting? If you want to do all that, not only will we set it up so that you can, but we'll teach you how to do it. Like we'll just say, hey, you want to manage this? That's great. Here you go. You're hosting with us. We'll manage the plugins and keep all the software up to date. And you take care of the content and the copy, right? And that's, for a lot of folks, that's the sweet spot. For a lot of folks, that is the sweet spot. But there's another element to this, and that is there's a lot of companies, enterprise operations that have their own IT people, that have their own developers. And so some of these companies will say, hey, we're not really in the headspace to have a vendor that we pay to do all this since we have this team internally. But we're not WordPress experts either. So this will come across a lot. And this will be almost the defining point. Like someone someone in a VP position that has the ability to make the decision on where the budget's going to go might decide to pay a custom built, ugly, poor performing SCORM website. They might be willing to pay more for that than to have something that's customizable, flexible, and has ownership with WordPress, simply because their internal IT team doesn't really have that working experience with WordPress yet. And so there's this misunderstanding that there's going to be this giant tech obstacle that has to be overcome in order for people to want to participate at that level. And this is where I just want to reassure you that, this was that second viewpoint that I was bringing to you. And that is, we made the course. We made the course. So if you would need to start at the basics of WordPress on the Mañana No Mas website, in fact, let me just show you right here. So we can go right into the Mañana No Mas website. I've got a home page. The easy button talks about our hosting packages, different case studies we've done, posts, our course catalog, and then we have members. We have a membership thing in our website as well. Okay, but the big thing is like, we take care of our people and provide training for them, especially on concepts or products that they would host with us. And so if I go down, and let me just make sure that, yeah, I'm on the wrong thing. So let me take this off. I'm going to remove that from the studio. And let's go and present, share the screen, go to Mañana No Mas and share. Okay, so now you are seeing the course catalog. And like I said, we have a home page, easy button that talks about the stuff that we sell for our hosting clients. We have case studies for groups that we've worked with successfully. Obviously, we have a lot of posts, a lot of content marketing inside our site, our course catalog, and our membership catalog. If you select the three dots, it's going to give you the ability to contact us, and then you can go and take a look at any of our social channels that we actually have embedded directly to our website. And so all of that is right there. Now, if we go and take a look at our courses, we've got a fair amount of courses in here, but this one right here, SCORM and WordPress, yes. If we take a look at this, this is the course that was released yesterday. And if we go down to the bottom, you're going to see pretty much exactly what we cover, right? We talk about first making sure that we got the right people in the room. If you need a beginning class on what WordPress is, we refer you to a basic course in WordPress first. And then we have what is SCORM, right? Because some people, again, might think they need SCORM, but find out they're not even using SCORM yet. So we talk about what is SCORM, and then we do a demo. We do a tour of a site that we made that has demo SCORM content in it. And I give you a tour of that to show you all the different ways that we can display SCORM content inside a WordPress website. So we've got that. We talk about the SCORM authoring tools a little bit, how to add the tools that you need to your WordPress site, how to upload your SCORM packages to your site. And then if you need the reporting side of it, we talk about how to add a learning record store to your website so that any reporting coming from the SCORM package would also show or transfer sync to the reporting inside your WordPress website. And then, of course, we wrap it up with a core message. And so this quick course right here, I mean, literally within just a couple of hours, somebody on your IT team could roll through this and go, wait a minute, I didn't realize this was going to be so easy. And I say easy because I'm assuming people with an IT background would be able to filter right into that. Now, if your IT department is not really on board with that and they're just getting started in WordPress, you go right to our homepage and you go right here. It says, what if you're just getting started in WordPress? Visit a free course. And this right here is a full layout on how to get started in WordPress. I made this course for Lifter LMS, and this is the playlist from the YouTube channel that houses all of those videos. So if you've got any questions on the basics of using WordPress, again, I authored that course with Lifter LMS, and we've duplicated that right here in the site for you. So you can see we got you covered either way. You could either say, hey, we'll just do it ourselves. Like we'll just do it ourselves. Just show us the basics on how this works. If that's the case, sign up, take the course on how to use SCORM and WordPress. I show you the tools. I show you where to get the tools. I show you how to activate the tools. And then it's up to you to just follow through and do it. Now, if you need help beyond that, we are available on a consultative basis, meaning for the cost of our agency rate, I can jump on a Zoom call or a screen share, and I can walk your IT people through whatever parts of this that they're missing. So there's always a way to make this happen. When I look at what corporations and enterprise organizations are spending on SCORM-based websites, it becomes very apparent to me that there is a need here. So I'm just trying to offer the solutions to that need. So if you want to do it yourself, we're giving you access to the course that you can take right through the Mañana No Mas website. We offer consultative packages on top of that if you want us to coach your people through how to do these things. And if you need help with WordPress basics, I'm giving you access, direct access to a free course on how to get started in WordPress if it really is a new technology for you. Furthermore, if you're like, hey, this all looks great, we were just looking for the expert to do it for us. Well, hopefully, me having the course and being willing to offer the consultative time and the idea that I work directly with Lifter LMS and WP Tonic and run Mañana No Mas, hopefully that is enough of a platform of expertise for you to say, let's give this Kurt guy a call and see if he can just do it for us. And in most situations, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised with how that works out. Now, what I find interesting about this, and I put this comment in the description of the video, is I was focusing so hard on the WordPress space over the last few years that I'm not going to say completely disconnected, but I didn't really have a connection in the SCORM world. Like, I knew how SCORM worked. I knew how to put SCORM into WordPress, but I was focused from the WordPress side of the conversation. And so during that time, I had belonged to a Slack channel that just has hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of e-learning experts. And of course, these are more SCORM related people, businesses, nonprofits, things like that use this kind of material. And I had not been actively participating in their Slack channel, but I had access to the Slack channel. And I'm not one to spam people, right? Like if I can add value, I'll add value. But I try not to just say, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. And so I jumped in there just yesterday and started looking at the different topics that they have broken out in their Slack channel. And here is something that is consistent, if not refreshing. And that is, if you've got communication skills, or if you can display leadership ability or leadership knowledge, there is always a way for you to add value to others in any circle. I find this all the time, and it absolutely amazes me. You know, when I came up in the power sports industry, there were a lot of instances where I was able to simplify the conversation, kind of find a better way to do things, and then simplify the process in which we communicate that to each other as the team. And I found that in the WordPress space, I kind of had that same makeup. And the same exact thing happened yesterday when I was in this Slack channel. I was looking at the different categories that they had, and a lot of the questions are very much the same. How do I track the percentage of active users based on this? How do I add new elements to my training platform without alienating, my legacy members? And what's really interesting about that is I've been working from the course creator perspective in the WordPress world, where it's just full of entrepreneurs doing startups. And so because I have such a high density of activity in that framework, it was very applicable for me to go to these people from the enterprise perspective and say, well, in my line of work, this is how we segment the audience between legacy and new people. This is how we segment those legacy clients into two different areas: legacy clients that want to expand their knowledge and legacy clients that want to stay where they're at. This is how we do this segmentation. This is how we tag these in the CRM. This is how we automate the email sequences based on the segmentation. And this is how we address upsell possibilities between the three audiences in those segments. And it was really interesting for me to be able to come to the table and go, wow, you can actually find many bridges of consistency and similarity when you're willing to be open and communicate with people in different areas. And so I find this a lot. because of the work that we do as an agency, we have people that are, believe it or not, in the makeup field, believe it or not, people that work with hair, believe it or not, people that are teaching people other languages. And so because we have exposure and as a company, as an agency, obviously I've got the background in automotive, power sports, marine, RV, mountain bike. So I'm like transportation, got that covered. Secondary education, got that covered. Continuing education for adults, got that covered. Now we're getting into SCORM material and we're taking that real serious. Guess what? We got that covered, right? And so what I'm finding is all of these different verticals of industry or verticals of categorizations of business have very similar communication points. And we're finding that we're able to bring value to a lot more people than I had originally suspected. And so when I first really launched Mañana No Mas, you'll notice by our client list that we were largely focused on power sports and food providers. I guess because I'm always hungry. But, you know, we worked with a salsa company. We worked with a chocolates company. We worked with a bunch of people that did food. And so because of that experience, we ended up with a lot of food clients and we ended up with a lot of power sports clients. However, as I'm describing to you, because I've worked with Lifter LMS, WP Tonic, I've grown Mañana No Mas, because we have those exposures, we're beginning to realize that a lot of what we have trained on, especially through the John Maxwell organization, is that the methodology, the communication, the style of communication, the processes that we put in place, those are very similar regardless of the vertical. And we're finding that we're able to add a lot of value to a lot of clients because we consult with the business first and then the product is second. And you won't find that with a lot of agencies. A lot of agencies are really focused on, how do I sell you a website? How do I sell you a website? And with Mañana No Mas, it's more like, tell us about your business, tell us about your use case, and let's see if we're a good solution on the product side. We might not always be. In fact, in some cases, we're not. And then we just say, hey, this really isn't the best time for you, or we're not the best solution in this area. We just ran through this with a client. We just had a client that we had put on WordPress. Was it a year or was it 2 years ago? I can't remember if it's been a year or 2 years. Anyway, they started to work with a new marketing professional. That marketing professional wasn't very familiar with WordPress and didn't have the appetite to want to learn WordPress and wanted to move them over to a Squarespace model. And you know what? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. In this case, we lost. That customer decided to go with their marketing professional and ran over to Squarespace, which is fine. I reviewed their newly released website, and there's a lot of similarities between the WordPress example that we had built and the way they laid out their Squarespace one. So that tells me that it wasn't necessarily communication or display or appearance, because it's not crazy different. But what's interesting about this is through the process, Mañana No Mas was actually able to keep that client, even though they're not on WordPress and they went to Squarespace. We've kept the client from a consultative perspective. And so it's super important to recognize that if you're an agency or an association and you're looking for someone to partner with to make electronic material for your end users, do you want someone that can make a website, or do you want someone that can understand your business, your use case, and provide the product at the end? And I think that that's a super important differentiation. Did I say that word right? To make that happen for your company. And with that, folks, I'm going to check to see if there's any comments here. I didn't see any comments roll in on this live. And so I'm going to call this one short. In the meantime, I really, really encourage you to, I'm going to show it one more time. If you need help with WordPress, you can jump right over to Mañana No Mas, go right to the homepage. From the homepage, you're going to see that you can take a basic WordPress course right through the site. Not a problem, free, no strings attached. If you want to jump over to our course catalog, when you jump over to the course catalog, if you're interested in what we're doing with SCORM and that course we released yesterday, you'll be able to go into that and you'll be able to purchase this course. Right now, it's $79. and that sale ends on 4th of July, and it'll go to $99 on Thursday. So just to let you know, still on sale, $79. Price goes up Thursday, right? So if you want to get in at the discount, jump in, sign yourself up, get introduced to SCORM. And here's the other deal. I do this with everything on Mañana No Mas. If you're not happy, tell me you're not happy. I'll give you your money back. I got no problems with that. It's more about spreading the word and becoming a professional, a known professional in the space, someone that people can refer for work and know that it's going to be legit. So for me, these courses are more of a branding and expertise exercise than a money generator. So if you take the course on SCORM and for some reason you're not satisfied and it's within 30 days, just pop me an email or a message and say you want your money back. And you know what? I'll send it to you. Not a big deal. All right. Have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you some other time.